Good morning, students. I think you have already seen my previous video where I had explained to you about the subject combinations. By this time, I think you all have decided to take math. Those of you who have decided to take math, today I'll start with the first chapter of math. So it may not be the first chapter of the textbook, but then usually every year I start in class 9 with this chapter because this is something which is very new to you. You have not done this chapter in any of the lower classes. Other chapters, there are so many chapters which are in fact repetitive, except for the fact that we will be doing a little detail in class 9. But this chapter is something again which is very new to you. So usually almost every year I start with this chapter. But before I go to the chapter, I want to discuss with you a little bit about your question pattern and the syllabus. Now, I don't want to go into detail about the syllabus because last time I had given you a link, cisce.org. There you can go, and then under syllabus and regulation in ICSE, you can see detailed syllabus for all the subjects, not only math, you can see for all the other subjects. So I'll not be discussing with you here the syllabus. Rather, I'll discuss with you the question pattern. Now, mathematics has two sections. Section 1 or section A, which is consisting of 40 marks. And this section, section A, is compulsory. You cannot skip any question from here. So this is what is compulsory. So you have to attend. So now how many questions are there? Altogether there are 4 questions. But when I say 4 questions, these 4 questions also will have some parts. Like question number 1 will be having A, B and C. So that means question number 1 will have 3 subparts. Now each of these subparts, the question distribution or mark distribution may be 3, 3, 4 or maybe 3, 4, 3 or maybe 4, 3, 3. So total is what is coming 10 marks. That means one question is what is carrying 10 marks. And since I said 4 questions, all are compulsory, 4 questions are there. So 4 into 10 is what is making it 40 marks. So similarly, question number 2 also will have A, B, C. So there again, your total 10 marks. Then question number 3 also will have A, B, C. So this also will be 10 marks. And question number 4 also will be A, B, C. So this also will be carried. So in total, as you can see, your section A is 40 marks. Now going on to section B. In section B, you have to attend any 4 questions. Now, when you are talking about section B, these 4 questions which you have to attend, again, each of these questions will be carrying 10 marks. So, section B is also 40 marks. So, both section A as well as section B will be carrying equal marks, 40 marks each. Now, since we have 1, 2, 3, 4, now section B, question number starts with question number 5. Again, like in section A, this also will be divided into 3 sections, A, B and C. Again, the marks distribution, maybe it will be 3, 3, 4 or maybe 4, 3, 3 or maybe, it can be anywhere. These 4 marks can be any of the 3, A or B or C. But then total marks again here also will be 10 marks. Then, you have to attempt any 4 questions out of the 7 questions that will be given. Now 7 questions means, now what are the total question numbers or question sequence? If this is 5, then it will be 6 again with ABC, then 7 with ABC, 8 with ABC, 9 with ABC, 10 with ABC, and 11 also with ABC. Now if you count the total number of questions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out of the 7 questions, you have to attempt in 4. This is how your marks are distributed. Again, I will repeat, section A is compulsory, 40 marks, total 40 marks, and how it will be distributed, then you know it. And same way, section B, out of 7 questions, you have to attempt 4. Now, this is how the mark, in fact, distribution will be there in your question paper. Since your question paper is made by the board, and you will be sitting for the examination which is being set up by the council, so you should be understanding beforehand that the mark distribution of your mathematics is something like this. Now, let me start with your chapter. So the first chapter that I'm going to take in class 9 is trigonometry. I always start with trigonometry because you have not done this chapter in any of the classes, in the lower classes. And this chapter is, would be very, very interesting for you. Now, trigonometry means the measurement of triangles. Now, when we are talking about triangles, we have come across different kind of triangles. In trigonometry, we are going to discuss only one kind of triangle, and that is a right angle triangle. Now, if I am taking a triangle with these three vertices as A, B, and C, and as angle C is 90 degrees, here you can say angle C is what is 90 degrees. Now, this makes this triangle a right angle triangle because one of the angle is what is 90. So, this is why this is what is a right angle triangle. Now, if that is so, then in trigonometry we have to be very particular about the sides of the triangle. In class 8, that Pythagoras theorem chapter, you have learned which one is perpendicular, which one is base, and which one is hypotenuse. Now, in case if you have forgotten, let me remind you again. Let's have a small revision about Pythagoras theorem. In a right angle triangle, 90 degree. If a 90 degree angle is here at C, opposite to 90 degree, opposite side, angle is here, opposite angle. The side which is opposite to that 90 degree is hypotenuse. We call this hypotenuse is the longest side of the triangle. As you can see, as compared to these two sides, this side is the longest side. That is what is hypotenuse. Then perpendicular. So in Pythagoras theorem, a perpendicular is something which is going straight up. So that is what we consider it as perpendicular. So this is what we'll take it as perpendicular. And base, the lower base. This side is what we consider as base. Then we said that in Pythagoras theorem, the square hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the square of perpendicular and base. This is what was your Pythagoras theorem which you have learned in class 8. So that means this is base, that is perpendicular. Now, in Pythagoras theorem, the same triangle if I am taking, here it is A, B, and C with 90 degrees apart. 90 degree opposite hypotenuse. Hypotenuse will never change. Hypotenuse is the longest side. So here hypotenuse, hypotenuse. But in Pythagoras theorem, if I consider this lower side, which I had considered that as base, as perpendicular, because the same triangle, if I rotating it clockwise, then this will go up. So that means this side is what will come down. This side, in fact, it will become perpendicular. It will go straight up. This is what will go down as base. So if I am considering this as perpendicular and this as base, it is not going to make any difference when you are calculating a hypotenuse or a perpendicular or a base. So in Pythagoras theorem, base lower side, here perpendicular lower side, it really doesn't matter. So a perpendicular can be taken as base and a base can be taken as perpendicular. It makes no difference in calculating hypotenuse or a perpendicular base in Pythagoras theorem. But the same is not true with trigonometry. Now in trigonometry, now we will compare the two triangles now. Here is trigonometry. If I am making a right angle triangle, here you can see I made a right angle here. And if I am considering this point as A, B, and C, you can see 90 degrees at B. Now opposite to 90 degrees. So if this is the angle opposite side of this angle, opposite side, the longest side, this is what is hypotenuse. Same in Pythagoras theorem also opposite to 90 degrees was hypotenuse. Here in trigonometry also opposite to 90 degrees hypotenuse. Now the difference between Pythagoras theorem and trigonometry is that in trigonometry there is always one particular angle which will be given to you, and that angle is what is called angle of reference. Now when I say reference, what angle are they referring to? So suppose our angle of reference is this angle. Here is the angle of reference. This angle A. Angle B cannot be angle of reference because already angle B is 90 degrees. So either the angle of reference will be A or it will be C. If I am considering A as angle of reference, then perpendicular and base depends on the angle of reference. If the angle of reference is A, suppose if angle of reference is A according to the diagram, then your hypotenuse is opposite to 90 degrees. So that is what is AC. In this, it is AC is what is hypotenuse. Then perpendicular. How do you recognize perpendicular? Here perpendicular, if you like, you can take this one as perpendicular and that one, or that one as perpendicular. It really doesn't matter. But here you have to be particular about perpendicular base. Here we have one side, one has to be taken as perpendicular to the other one, and you cannot interchange like in the case of Pythagoras. So if this one is the angle of reference, perpendicular is always opposite to the given angle. 90 degree opposite is hypotenuse, 90 degree. And what angle is given to you? Suppose you have given angle A, angle of reference is A. So opposite to that angle A is what is perpendicular. That means if this is the angle of reference, opposite side is this one. So BC becomes here perpendicular. Now since out of the three sides, 1, 2, 3 sides, we have already taken 2 sides. So then that last remaining side becomes the base. So your base becomes this side, which is your AB or BA. Or if you like, base can also be recognized as that side of the right angle triangle which is in contact with angle of reference and 90 degree. You can see this side is touching that given angle as well as 90 degree. So this can be taken as base. So now you may say that base is the lower side perpendicular. This is what we did in Pythagoras theorem. This is the same here in trigonometry also. Yeah, I agree with you. But same diagram now if I am going to make here. That it was C, D and A. Yes, 90 degree here. Now, the angle of reference previously it was A. Now, you may also be given now as the angle of reference as C. Now, I am taking the angle of reference as C. So, again I am repeating, previously it was A. So, now it is C. Now, if the angle of reference change, here 90 degrees, so opposite to 90 degrees, this is still the hypotenuse. So, even though the angle of reference may change, angle of reference may go from here to there, but hypotenuse will not change. Hypotenuse is remaining the same. So now if hypotenuse is remaining the same, what was hypotenuse? Same as hypotenuse here. So again I am repeating Pythagoras theorem, or even when the angle of reference is same thing here in trigonometry, hypotenuse is not changing. But now you will see perpendicular base will change. Now previously our angle of reference was A. Now our angle of reference is C. Now if the angle of reference is C, now if you are asked to find sin C or tan C, C means now the angle is here. Or if they say tan A, then our angle of reference is here at A. So now if angle of reference is C, then our hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is still the same. Hypotenuse is what is AC. So in this case also hypotenuse is same AC. Here also it was AC. Opposite to 90 degrees, the longest side. Now, perpendicular. As I told you, perpendicular means what is the angle of reference? Opposite sides of angle of reference. This is the angle of reference. Opposite to angle of reference is perpendicular. And since our angle of reference is here, opposite side, directly going opposite to that angle is this one, AB. So our perpendicular becomes AB. Now you can see here our perpendicular was BC, our perpendicular was this one. But now here the perpendicular has become this lower side. What we are considering previously as base now has become perpendicular. Now this is what is perpendicular because of this angle of reference. And similarly, the last one, base. Base, as I said, out of the three sides, 2 sides are already taken. One side is remaining is this side, and this remaining side becomes the base. Or as I said, the other way of recognizing the base is the side which is touching the angle of reference and 90 degrees. So this is the side which is touching angle of reference and 90 degrees. That becomes the base. So your base is what is just BC. Now please note that base doesn't mean that always base should be down, lower side. Base, as you can see, can be up also. It can be in this fashion also. So now you can see usually in Pythagoras theorem, always the lower one is base. But here you can see because of the angle of reference, as the angle of reference is changed, our perpendicular base also has changed. So the difference between Pythagoras theorem and the triangle that we are taking in trigonometry, the main difference is with respect to angle of reference. Here there is no angle of reference in Pythagoras theorem. That's why our base and perpendicular can be interchanged. But in trigonometry, you have to be very careful about which one is perpendicular and which one is base. Okay. Let's take a triangle with vertices A, B, and C, right angle at C. Now, I can take any one as angle of reference. I cannot take C as angle of reference because angle C is already 90 degrees, but angle of reference will be either B or it will be A. Now, trigonometric ratios. In fact, when we are talking about ratios, trigonometry altogether, it is ratios of the triangle. Now, when I say ratio of the triangle, ratios of the sides of the triangle. Since you have perpendicular, if angle of reference is this, perpendicular, base, and hypotenuse, based on the ratio between different sides of the triangle, ratio, don't forget, ratio means comparison between the two sides. Like here, perpendicular to base, ratio, P is to B, or P by B. Then ratio between hypotenuse, perpendicular, base to hypotenuse, base to perpendicular. There are so many different ratios. So altogether, with respect to these three sides, there are altogether 6 trigonometric ratios. Now, these trigonometric ratios are sine, S-I-N, sine. But in short, we call this as sine. It is not sin, okay? Don't say it's sin, this is sine. Now, what is sine? Now, when you are talking about sine, here the angle of reference is B. Then I may say sine B. So now look at this. This B here is standing for the angle of reference. So if it is about that angle, then I will write sine A. So angle of reference is B here. So that's why I am writing here B. Now, what is this first ratio sine? The first ratio is the ratio between perpendicular to hypotenuse. Yes, I write perpendicular to hypotenuse ratio. Since I said all trigonometric ratios, they are all ratios, 6 ratios are there. So this one is the first one. Sine is perpendicular by hypotenuse. Then the next ratio is cosine. But in short, we will call this as cos. So cosine in short we will call, henceforth we will be calling it or referring to it as cos. And again, if the angle of reference is the same, I'll write this as cos B. Cos is the ratio between base to hypotenuse of the triangle. So base by hypotenuse is what is cos. Third ratio is tangent. But in short, we'll write this as tan. Again, if I'm taking B as the angle of reference, then I'll take it as tan B. Then tan B ratio is perpendicular by base. Okay, now you can see 3 different ratios. Altogether 6 are there. Now 3 I wrote. Now 3 more I'm going to write. P by S, the ratio between perpendicular and hypotenuse. This divided by this is what is going to give you sine. Base by hypotenuse is going to give you cos. And if you are finding the ratio between perpendicular to base, then that is what we call tan. Sine, cos, tan. Sine is P by S, cos is B by S, and tan is what is P by B. Now, I said 6 trigonometric ratios, but here I have discussed only 3. Now we have 3 more. Just remember this, it will be easy for you to solve the question. It's easy for you to remember. If sine, cos, tan are the 3 ratios, trigonometric ratios, the other 3 are reciprocal of these 3. Reciprocal. So the reciprocal of sine is cosecant, but cosecant in short is what we write as cosec. So again, if the angle of reference is that angle B, so it is called cosec B. Full name is cosecant, but in short we call it cosec. Now, sine and cosec, they are reciprocal to each other. If they are reciprocal to each other, if sine is P by S, then this is S by P. Yeah, P by S, here it is. S has gone up and P has come down. Reciprocal. Similarly, Now, the fifth one. Reciprocal of cos is secant, but in short we call it sec. So, full form, proper name is secant, but in short we call it sec. But again, if the angle of reference is B, I'll have to write sec B. And if this is B by S, since it is reciprocal to each other, they are reciprocal to each other, cos and sec. So if this is B by S, this becomes opposite, so it becomes S by B. Then third one, tangent. Reciprocal of tangent is called cotangent, but in short we'll call it cos. Again, if I'm taking the angle of reference as B, this angle, then if this is P by B, this becomes B by B. Okay, now here goes the first chapter is all about this one. Sine is perpendicular hypotenuse, cos is base by hypotenuse, tan is perpendicular base, then cosec is h by p, then hypotenuse by perpendicular, then sec is what is hypotenuse by base, and cot is what is base by perpendicular. They are reciprocal. If you remember this three, and if you remember what is the reciprocal of what, if you remember this, the other one automatically comes out. Please note that sine, s, and c. This is c and s. So the confusion is that many of you think that sine and secant, they are reciprocal to each other. Actually, s and s, but it's just a reverse. S is reciprocal to c reciprocal to s, and c and s, they interchange each other. So don't think that sine and secant and cos and cosecant. So sine reciprocal is cosec, s with c, and c is with s. And third one is easy to remember because tan and cot, both of them have t, ter sound is what is there, so it's easy to remember both of them, tan and cot. So if you know tan, now I'll give you an easy method to remember this formula. Every year students like this sentences. Now I'll say one sentence. Now don't look for any meaning in the sentence. The sentence actually is nonsense, meaningless. But if you say this for at least for 10 times, I think it will stay in your mind. And then every time, whenever you are calculating or whenever you are doing any question, this will help you to solve the question better. You'll be able to remember this. P by S is sine, cos is B by S, tan is P by B. Now let us see what that is. I'm going to give you 4 different ways of remembering this. 3 of them are very similar. 3 sentences which I'm going to say are very similar. And the 4th one is a little different. It is your wish how you want to remember. I would suggest that you go by the first one because every year you shouldn't like that first one. And you people might have heard from your elder brothers and sisters saying this sentence. This is an interesting sentence even though it is meaningless. Alright now. Sine is perpendicular hypotenuse. Now, I am going to give you a sentence consisting of 9 words. You have to divide this 9-word sentence into part of 3. 3 words, 3 words, and 3 words. Now let us see the first sentence. Some people have. Okay, yes, the first 3 words. It is a sentence. Curly. Yeah, a curly here, like mine. So some people have curly brown hair. Turned. So that curly brown hair has now turned permanently black. Okay. So this is one single sentence consisting of 9 words. Some people have, so you'll remember it like this. Some people have curly brown hair turned permanently black. Some people have curly brown hair turned permanently black. Now divide this sentence into 3 parts. Okay, the first part here, then the second part here, and the third part there. Now, what is the significance of that? You can see here S is there. So this S will help you to remember sine. Yeah, sine. What is the formula of sine? Sine is P by S. So you can see the next word is starting with P, and the next one after that is starting with S. So I'll write P by S. See here, some people have P by S. So sine is what is P by S. Similarly, going on to the next 3 words, curly will give you cos. cos B and S, B by S. Now check it. Cos base by hypotenuse, cos curly brown here. So cos is B by S. So sine formula also now easily you have remembered already. Some people have curly brown here. And finally turn is tan. Then permanently becomes P and that black becomes B. So tan becomes P by B. If you look at this formula, tan is P by B. So if you remember the sentence, some people have curly brown hair, turn permanently black. So now you got the formula now. Sine is the ratio between perpendicular to hypotenuse, cos is the ratio between base by hypotenuse, check this, and tan. So this sentence, this your 9-word sentence is what will help you to remember this three formula of sine, cos and tan very, very easily. Now you may say, sir, yes, we have remembered three, but what about the other three? Since I said already that they are the reciprocal of this. So if you know sine, you also know cosec. Because if you know sine, remember some people now there is no sentence. You can make, if you like, you can make your own sentence, but then as such, it's not necessary for this three. Because if you know that what is the reciprocal of what, automatically. So sine, cosec is P by S, cosec is the reciprocal of sine, so this becomes S by P. Cos, reciprocal of sec, as you can see, sec is cosec, cos and sec, they are reciprocal. So if this is B by S, this becomes S by B. Tan and cot, reciprocal. So this is what is cot. Cot is what is P by B. If tan is P by B, so now all 6 trigonometric ratios is something which you can easily remember. So yes, do not forget first 3, sine, cos and tan. This 9-word sentence will help you. Then the other 3, this reciprocal, they are reciprocal. So that's why it's very important that you should understand, remember that what is the reciprocal of what? Cosec is the reciprocal of sine. Sec is the reciprocal of cos, and cot is the reciprocal of tan. Now, as I said, I am going to give you 4 different ways in which you can remember this. Now, let me give you the second one. And the second one is also very similar to the first one, even though here some people have curly brown hair. At least the 6th word of the sentence I am going to use the same. But then, yeah, some people have. Okay, so as you can see, I use the same. Then, curly brown. Here, even the next 3 words which are there, I have taken the same. Then now the last 3 words is what I am going to change. And that is what I will write. Through proper brushing. The meaning of the sentence is that yes, some people will be able to maintain a curly brown hair through proper brushing. So they will brush their hair properly and they will be able to maintain this. So instead of saying turn permanently black, I have changed it into through proper brushing. Again, here also you can do the same. Divide it into 3 parts. So there you are. Some people have S, that is sine is E by S. Curly, cos, B by S. Same. Then P, here through. There it is turn, here it is through. P, and this is proper brushing, P by B. Yeah, P by B. So this is second sentence that you can write. Now again, the third sentence is also very similar. Again, I am going to write the same. Some people have. Okay, I will write it back. Curly brown. Here, okay, I am now going to change this last 3 words. Here, the last 3 words I have changed. Here also I have changed the last 3 words, and this last 3 words is what I am going to change. And then here I will write to present beauty. Yeah, do not look at the grammar there, do not look at the construction of the sentence. Yeah, simply you can say some people have curly brown hair to present beauty. Okay, they are maintaining their hair as a curly brown hair in order to present their beauty. Yeah, to present beauty. So again here say some people have S, sine is P by S, curly brown hair, cos is B by S. Again 2 is tan, T, tan is what is P by B, again P by B. So this is what is just 3 sentences. Now there is one more way in which you can remember, and with that I think I will be winding up. And then maybe, yes, we are not able to do any of the questions today, but then maybe in the days to come, within the week, I'll be again giving you some more additional videos where we'll be discussing the question. Now, the fourth way in which we can remember is, yes, sine, cos, tan. And don't forget, we are discussing only the three, because the other three are reciprocals. And you all know that sine is P, D, P, H, H, D. So this is interesting. I think some of you may like this. See, sine, cos, tan. And usually when you remember trigonometric ratios, this three will come in this sequence. We never say tan, cos, sine. We usually say sine, cos, tan in this sequence. So here I wrote in the same sequence, sine, cos, tan. And then I wrote P by F. This is B by F. Then this is C by B. Now you must be wondering how I wrote it directly. Yes, one way of doing it is by remembering the same thing. But now look at this. I'm going to write something here. Sine, cos, tan. P. Okay. Remember once again a 6-word sentence. Pandit Badri Prasad Hara Hara Bole. So maybe he is praying in a temple. So this Pandit Badri Prasad is saying Hara Hara Bole. Okay, now see what is the significance? See, sine. If this is sine, and if this one is cos, and if this is tan, see Pandit P by H. P by H. So sine is P by H. If you can see, sine is P by H. So Pandit and Hara. Here P by H becomes sine. Cos is Badri and Hara. So if I write B by H, you can see cos is what is B by H. B by H. If I pick from here B and from here, so B by H is what is cos. And tan is P by B. So as you can see, tan is what is P by B. So that means if you remember the sentence that Pandit Badri Prasad Hara Hara Bole, then that if you are taking out the first letter from each of these words, then also you will be able to remember what is sine, cos and tan. Once you have done sine, cos and tan, and remember the other three, they are reciprocal. Cosec is a reciprocal of sine, sec is a reciprocal of cos, and cot is a reciprocal of tan. I am winding up our first class, math class here. Again, as we are not able to do any question, I did not discuss any question. So now 2 or 3 things is what you have to know. Pythagoras theorem. So if out of the 3 sides, perpendicular base and hypotenuse, if you are given any 2 sides, hypotenuse, perpendicular is given, then you should be able to find base. Or any out of the 3 sides, when 2 sides are given, the third side can be found by using this formula, h square equal to p square plus b square. So in this first chapter, you will be requiring this Pythagoras theorem, and also you have to be thorough with what I have discussed just now. So in the next class, we will be discussing questions based on this chapter. Thank you.